Hey, what's up guys? Jack and Matt here with the Toasty Bros, and today we're going to be bringing you a 2020 $1,300 gaming PC build.
But before we talk about that, no, I'm just kidding. Today's video is brought to you by Antec. They sent over a ton of stuff for this PC build, which we'll be talking about, and basically made this whole PC build possible. So special thanks to Antec, and if you do purchase stuff for this build, links down below. Yeah, there's no other sponsory besides that, so big props to Antec. So let's talk a little bit more about this build.
So one thing that we did decide to include in the budget on this build, which we normally wouldn't always do, is this case right here is a really awesome case, but it does not come with fans, but the case is $100. So this is a little bit of a higher budget build because of that. And also we spent an extra like $130 to get these really nice RGB artifacts that we will go over once we go into the part. So just a disclaimer, this build does have about $250, $270 worth of bling. So you are going to be spending more to make the system look nice. So the heart of this build is going to be the Ryzen 3700X. Now this is an awesome 8-core 16-thread processor. It is super fast, like the speeds are insane on it. And as far as doing workloads and even, really high-end gaming, this thing is going to blow it out of the park. You could go with something like a 3600 or 3600X, spend a little bit more in the graphics card, which we'll go to in just a second, to have more of a balanced gaming build. But right now, this is going to be great for streaming and gaming. So you guys also know we normally always go B450 route because, well, B450 can handle almost every processor out there. It's very upgradable, and they honestly look pretty good. Well, for this one, we decided to go a little bit overboard, you could say. So 3700X paired with this Asus Prime X470 Pro motherboard. It does have the Aurora Sync, and honestly, this build's going to be so RGBified that we kind of just wanted to continue the RGBification at that point. So this is a little bit of a premium price. I think it comes in between 110 and 130, so you're paying a little bit more for an X470, but it does have better upgradability path in the future. Huge thanks to Team Group for this T-Force, it's actually not Delta for once, it's actually Excalibur RGB RAM that looks amazing. So it's actually 16 gigs, it's in two 8-gig sticks, and it's 3600 megahertz. So yeah, this is like some serious business here, and honestly, this RGB is insane. I don't know if we get the special edition or not. I guess we'll find out, but I think that we have this stick right here, but you can get the special edition for about the same price, where it literally has like some extra, drawings on the RGB. So, and for the M.2 drive, because you guys know we love going M.2, especially with the high-end build, we kind of just have to at this point. This is a M700 from BioStar. Now, just a quick disclaimer, I don't know if this is actually like totally out yet. So we will have alternate links in the description down below as well as this one. So if you can't find this BioStar one, any 512 gig M.2 SSD is gonna work fine. I mean, this is a PCI Express one, but anyone's gonna work about the same. So whatever you see in the description that's available, just go for it.
Now, as for that GPU that we mentioned, we went with a Gigabyte 2060 Super. Now, is it the most powerful GPU out there? No, you can definitely pair a 2070 or even like a 5700 XT with something like the 3700X, but this gives us a really powerful gaming system that can also be used for live streaming. And if you want to spend a little bit more on the graphics card, you could cut back on RGB and get a better GPU, or cut back on the CPU and get a better GPU. But the 2060 Super is definitely no slouch. You could definitely max out all games 1080p and expand into 1440p if you want to, and you get that really awesome NVENC encoder for some awesome live streams. And now begins the list of Antec products that Antec was nice enough to send over. This is their high current gamer 650 watt power supply. 650 watts is more than enough for this system. It is 80 plus gold, and it is modular, so you do have the ability to keep things a little bit more organized. So these sleeve cables right here are black and white, which they put stickers on here so I don't mess it up this time. But they are some custom sleeve cables to add just a little bit of an extra flair to this build. Not necessary, because I think these are all sleeved black cables, so you really don't have to worry about having nasty ketchup and mustard at a high-end build like this, but just add a little bit of an extra flair, black and white sleeve cables. And then we go over to the RGB. Now we have a couple of packs of their RGB fans, which do come with RGB strips and a controller. Each one comes with 3 fans, a controller, and 2 RGB strips. So you're getting a good combo here, but this case right here, which is the P120 Crystal, can hold a ton of fans. More specifically, 7 fans. Yeah, so 3 here, 3 here, and then one 140 at the end. So that's why we have this one 140 millimeter fan right here. Also, that comes with just the fan. So we're gonna be really decking this thing out with RGB. Antec has told us that their overall RGB ecosystem is really easy to use, so we'll be putting that to the test in this video. But really, it's just gonna be a lot of putting in fans and really maxing this P120 Crystal out to just show off the RGB in this really awesome open case design that I'm really a fan of, especially at the $100 price point. And not to mention, it is one beefy case. It is really heavy. So let's go ahead and start building this thing and see what we can put together. Very excited. No, it's not building.
Alright guys, so now that we have this beauty of a PC all put together, let's talk about those benchmarks real quick. Now the main games we tested were Modern Warfare, Fortnite, Rainbow Six Siege, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which has kind of become our go-to benchmarking suite. And first up with Modern Warfare, we were able to play this game at well over 100 plus FPS. Actually, this configuration performs way better than my own personal rig with a Ryzen 7 1700 and a 2080 Super, because that CPU, the 3700X, its IPC improvements are amazing. The amount of performance you're getting out of this thing with a processor at the price point that it's at is pretty incredible. This is a really awesome setup, and you can most definitely play at high refresh rate with this current setup. Now, I know a lot of you are probably wondering why we didn't go for a better graphics card. Well, as we mentioned at the beginning of this video, we really wanted to showcase some of Antec's products, and you most definitely, if you wanted to save some money or spend a little bit more money, could pair literally up to a 2080 Super or 2080 Ti with this 3700X without any problems if you wanted to. So this could be just a good starting point to get a really nice looking build and eventually build on that. So in Modern Warfare, more than playable, max settings, 100 plus FPS. The same goes with Fortnite. You actually have a really capable pro Fortnite PC here with 300 plus FPS. The IPC of 3rd gen Ryzen is significantly improved compared to 1st and 2nd gen, making it a very capable option for people who play Fortnite professionally and want to play on 240Hz monitors. This thing would actually work really well for you, even in a Team Rumble lobby, which is normally more demanding than the main game itself. So overall, Fortnite was definitely more than playable, and I was very impressed with the results in that department. Rainbow Six Siege is the same story, another esports title that performs very well with this setup, well over 200 FPS in the built-in benchmark. That is most definitely no surprise here. Rainbow Six isn't super demanding, but it is another really popular esports title that's being played, and in reality, a majority of people out there are getting into PC gaming for esports titles like Rainbow Six and Fortnite, and maybe even Modern Warfare if they want to get away from the the console life. So seeing numbers like this is probably very, well, beneficial for people like that. And then the last game we tested was Shadow of the Tomb Raider, where we started to realize the limitations of the 2060 Super. At 1080p full maxed out settings, we were only getting about 60-ish FPS, which Shadow of the Tomb Raider is a great example of a AAA title that is really, really demanding. If you plan on playing a lot more of those games, or if you want to jump into 1440p, probably saving up for a 2070 Super or a 5700 XT, or maybe even higher would be a better option for you. But overall, this 2060 Super impressed me a lot, and the price point it comes in at is very competitive. You have the really awesome NVIDIA feature set like the NVENC encoder that allows you to have some really beautiful live streams while not impacting your CPU, and also just, and it's an NVIDIA card. There's a ton of different stuff that comes with it. You could go with the AMD alternative, as I mentioned, like a 5700 or 5700 XT, but you know, we went with the 2060 Super, and we definitely don't regret the decision for this build. And it also looks really nice. This Gigabyte model is really well built. So that pretty much wraps up the benchmarks. How about we go ahead and bring Jackson back in to wrap this video up real quick and give our thoughts on this beautiful build. Did I say it was beautiful? It's definitely beautiful.
So guys, those were some really impressive benchmarks. For $1,300, this thing was able to really max out every game, and on a game like Fortnite, even pro settings, we're getting like 300 plus FPS. So you know that a new 300 plus hertz monitor might actually be a thing with this.
And one thing to mention also, we love these Antec products. The RGB fans are nice, and it does go together very nicely with this P120 crystal case. But if you wanted to put more money into your GPU, you could always get some cheaper RGB fans. We'll leave links down below. But that's something you could always get. But if you want the whole ecosystem of Antec products to work really well, we do recommend getting all this stuff and putting it together. RGB is still not super easy to put together, but if you do take the time to really organize it and make sure it looks nice in the back, you can get a really nice RGB looking product. And we're actually very impressed with this case, and people over on our social media have really liked it so far.
Another disclaimer is that we probably could have done the same exact build, and we probably have done a very similar build for around $1,000 if, let's say we went with the cheaper case, we didn't really go RGB, we didn't go with an X470 board, we didn't go with like some of the fastest RAM we could find that's RGB. You could probably save like $300 or $400 just by cutting back on things, but you could still have the same core components like the 3700X, the 2060 Super, 16 gigs of RAM. You can still get good components and good performance, it just wouldn't look this amazing.
Sometimes we like to showcase some really pretty looking builds. If you want to see something that's more price to performance, or like not super blingy and more like all value and raw performance, hit the eye in the top right corner. We'll leave a couple of builds there. But overall, thanks again to Antec for sponsoring this video. We really do like this case and the fans from Antec, and we do highly suggest if you're looking for a really blingy build while not totally breaking the bank, this is a good thing to consider.
So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, we will see you guys in the next one.
Goodbye.
Oh, perfect timing.
Happy to you. Happy to you.